welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Hope you guys had an amazing weekend. It is Monday, grueling Monday, the worst enemy, the heel of every day of the week. Fridays, of course, that baby face, and then you have that Monday that you just don't want to face. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's a grind. It's a grind, to be honest, but we all made it through. So give yourselves a nice little pat on the back. Y'all deserved it. Thank you so much for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, here to talk about all things professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, behind the curtain calls, superstar news, rumors, updates, injuries, contract obligations, or whatever we talk about here on the GSMC Sports Network. And we always have a great show. Always have a great show lined up. We have our WWE Smackdown review. We're going to talk about our Monday Night Raw preview. Should be a good one. Of course, it is the last Monday Night Raw before SummerSlam. So of course, this is like a win or go home kind of show. And then we're going to talk about we did have a birthday boy. We had another birthday boy over the I think it was on Saturday on the 25th. On the 27th, we had Triple H, Paul Levesque. He turned 55. So we're going to talk about a little bit about Triple H's his legacy and stuff like that. And of course, what's more to come in terms of the Paul Levesque era. And then we're going to talk about Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair recently said in an interview that her most embarrassing moment in her career was losing at SummerSlam 2021 to Becky Lynch in 26 seconds. And then our fifth and final segment, we're gonna talk about Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair, she's right there. She recently had a social media post where it showed her doing some work inside the WWE Performance Center. So could that possibly mean anything, especially heading toward the biggest party of the summer? Is it like a foretelling of her coming back bigger and better and stronger than ever? So we're gonna dive on into her injury status updates and also what can we expect in the future. But before we dive into any of that, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Shoot me your comments, questions, and concerns. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Give me your, outstanding opinions on things. Don't care if it's crazy. Of course, hit up the gsmcpodcast.net, the tips and donations link, give, whatever you can. Most importantly, the best thing about this podcast is when we get a lot of audience engagement. Love that 1,010%, 1,010%. Love hearing the voices from you guys. Give me a shout out from where you're listening from or watching for that matter. So just spend time with me. Spend time with your boy E here from the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, here to talk about our favorite thing, our, some people's guilty pleasure. I don't think it's really guilty pleasure because I've watched professional wrestling and grown up with it my whole entire life. But for some people, they're like, what? I'm a little bad. I'm a little bad. I kind of like professional wrestling. Yes, I know what's scripted. Yes, I know what's choreographed. And I know my friends are just going to be so bad at me. No, they're not. They're not. Professional wrestling is something within the sports entertainment business that's been prominent, that's been on the minds of every single sports fans. Yes, you see professional wrestling on Sports Center here and there. You see Stephen A. Smith talking about it sometimes. Yeah, professional wrestling is a sport. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, indeed, it is a sport. I don't know if it took you guys until July 29th of 2024 to finally grasp the concept that wrestling is indeed a sport. So, once again, hit up the tips and donations link at gsmcpodcast.net. Shout out anything, absolutely anything. Tell me how you're feeling. Tell me how your weekend was, whatever. All right, so we're going to move on. We have our WWE Smackdown review. It was action-packed. It was pretty awesome. So the show started off with Nick Aldis addressing the Bloodline, saying that since Tonga Loa's eye was actually hurt after the beating of Kevin Owens, which is, kind of karma, thanks to my man upstairs, kind of karma for the Bloodline. They eventually got what was theirs, and Nick Aldis was going to have them forfeit their spot in the tag team gauntlet match. But of course, Solo Sikoa, that slide devil, you that tribal chief, Xavier's going to help us. I'm just kidding. No, he's terrible, absolutely terrible. Jacob Fatu has replaced Tonga Loa, and to be honest, I like in this podcast and throughout, sports, entertainment, wrestling, media, there's kind of that same block. There's that same block, kind of deterring. Is Solo Sikoa actually, ready to be the tribal chief? Does he really have the credibility? Does he really have the accomplishments to kind of set forth like kind of, that self-proclaimed tribal chief? In my opinion, I feel like he has not. And then, something that I kind of wanted to mention, Jacob Fatu inside the ring has been so much impressive, more than Solo Sikoa. Even Tama Tonga within, with his brother Tongaloa has been in the ring more impressive than Solo Sikoa. And if Hikuleo, if he debut, he is on the WWE roster from New Japan Professional Wrestling. If he makes it onto the WWE scene and he joins the Bloodline, that's another Bloodline member that is highly regarded above Solo Sikoa in terms of talent, accomplishments, international. Like these guys are big. These guys are really, it's that definitely something maybe WWE should have paid attention to, but of course, under the Vince McMahon era, you didn't really have like any of these. It's playing along with the storyline. It really is. Solo Sikoa wants to establish this new young bloodline, and he's done a really, really good job having foreign names from the fans forced down their throats, having to just accept Tamatonga, Tongaloa, Jacob Fatu, also Hikuleo. It's WWE. I think what they're doing with the new young bloodline is correct. Forcing it a little bit is kind of, the main issue here. I feel like 1,010% they're forcing it. I think it came way too fast for him to fight Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship. But it is what it is. So I guess as wrestling fans, we just gotta swallow that pill no matter what. Next, we had a match between the LA Knight and Santos Escobar. Of course, you saw the WWE United States champion Logan Paul stick his nose into somebody else's business. But it did not alter the outcome of the match. The LA Knight was able to hit the BFT for the win, but after the match, ended, you saw Logan Paul come out and do what he does best, is just prayer of the week, the ultimate opportunistic, the YouTube megastar. Kind of reminds me of like a bougie Edge, I guess you can say. I know Edge is a little more, a little bit more rugged in terms of professional wrestling, but Logan Paul, he's proved himself to be a WWE superstar. Those out there who feel like Logan Paul has not done what it takes to be a WWE superstar, you got to look in the mirror, man. You got to kind of wake up a little bit. Everything he's done and his bookings really hasn't been his fault. He agrees that the United States Championship should be defended more regularly on WWE basis. Throughout November, he only defended it twice, but that's not his fault. He's 1,010% on board of having that title become more prestige, having that title being defended on a month-to-month, maybe even like a week-to-week basis. The United States Championship, usually the mid-card championships, like the Intercontinental, like the United States Championships, are defended on Monday Night Raw, WWE Smackdown. So not really taking that much up the grass. Something that I feel like WWE should kind of be shooting for a little bit more is like kind of establishing prestige along the tag team. I feel like the WWE and the WWE World Tag Team titles, they could probably, I love DIY. I love that DIY won the championships. So I feel like SmackDown is kind of on the rise in terms of the WWE Tag Team Championships. But on Monday Night Raw, you ultimately saw the championships lost by R-Truth and the Miz, the Awesome Truth, and you have them go back to the Judgment Day. For me, I felt like there really wasn't. I feel like that was kind of like the bad move, but I don't know. Only time will tell. So Santos Escobar, helped Logan Paul take out the LA Knight. After that, you saw a promo with Naomi basically saying that she's going to, get the glow of respect from Blair Davenport. So there's more for that. Heading forward, next we have Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. They address Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. They were attacked from behind, but once again, what Jade Cargill did, what they do, Bianca Belair, what they do, although they might be down, although they might be outnumbered and damn near the underdogs. I don't know why they would ever be seen as the underdogs, but they came out on top as always. They always come out on top. That's why I'm kind of worried about them regaining the WWE World Tag Team title because you have such strong teams like Chelsea Green, also Piper Niven. You also have the newly formed stable of Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. You have what's going on in NXT. And it's it would be kind of a bold, rash statement for me to be like, all right, I feel like the NXT should have their WWE World Women's Tag Team Championships, but it's hard. It's hard. It forever will be hard, actually. Then you saw a promo. You saw Terrence Crawford with the Street Profits. You kind of saw them, kind of colluding in the back. Nia Jax in a promo said that she's going to get Tiffany Stratton a new briefcase, and she basically asked, like, if I win this championship, are you going to cash in on me? Tiffany Stratton was like, no, I can even do that to you, girl. But I think that's full of like shiitake mushrooms there. It just makes me, I kind of ponder the idea of her catching on Liv Morgan, also Rhea Ripley, and I just don't really see how any of that would kind of go moving forward. So I'm basically think it's going to be either Bayley or Nia Jax. So then we had the tag team gauntlet match. We had the tag team. We started off with Baron Corbin, Apollo Crews, who defeated Legado del Fantasma, only to be defeated and eliminated by the Street Profits. But something that Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews have to hold their head up high is that they were absolutely impressive. Both those superstars were really good in the tag team. Would love to see them, in singles competition and stuff like that. But Baron Corbin, I feel like WWE has like a new regard, has a new story, has kind of like a new projection on the way they want to handle this Baron Corbin character, which is great because throughout the years, after they kind of effed him up, and I know like he did tag on the tail of a snake that ultimately bit him back, being Vince McMahon. He said something to WWE creative that Vince didn't like, so then Vince punished him. He made him lose his Money in the Bank briefcase in a very embarrassing, exhausting fashion. But I feel like Baron Corbin, the perfect time for him is to come back now, and I love the way he's heading forward. So definitely love that. So, excuse me. Sorry, a lot to say there. So yeah, we saw Corbin we saw them get eliminated by the Street Profits. Then we saw Pretty Deadly. Street Profits eliminated Pretty Deadly. Then we had the OC eliminated by the Street Profits, which was a steel win. And then, of course, the last team, and I did not want them to win tonight, was Tonga and Jakob Fatu. Kind of lame, but you have the Bloodline heading toward next week's WWE Smackdown. See, I don't know why it's not at SummerSlam. This is Johnny Gargano's home to Cleveland, Ohio. It should be at SummerSlam, but once again, you see the WWE Tag Team titles being defended on SmackDown, which is cool. I don't hate that. It's not that I don't like. I'm not like every title match should be on pay per view. Like blah blah blah. But it's not the same like it was anymore. Like I kind of compare it to the ratings between Monday Night Raw and WCW Nitro is that a lot of people don't have cable television anymore. They don't. They're streaming it on a service like Fubo, Roku, also YouTube TV, where it's and then you could pay for Peacock. You're not paying 100 and something dollars a month for cable, maybe $40 for two streaming services, Peacock and for me it's Peacock and YouTube TV, where you get Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, and then on Peacock you get all the episodes and also the pay-per-views. But I don't know. I just think it's different times. I just think it's different times. It's not so much of a glamour for titles to be defended on the main stage on the pay-per-view anymore, like it was back in the day. Like back in the day, if this happened like 10 or like 12, yeah, like 10 years ago, I'd be like, oh my god, that's freaking sick. They're defending the WWE Tag Team titles on a weekday show on cable television. Are you kidding me? That's amazing. But nowadays it's not like it used to be. It's not like what it used to be. But then again, that could be me showing my age once again. So then you saw Austin Theory and Grayson Waller come out. They called out Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is a two-time champion, 40-0. That's amazing. He got punched out. No, he punched out. Oh my god. Almost left that up. He punched out Austin Theory. Grayson Waller dipped. Cody Rhodes interview reflects on his journey heading towards SummerSlam alone, of course, with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens all being taken out right in front of his face. He was forced to watch. He said, and I quote, he feels like Solo Sikoa has proven that he's a tribal chief, but he challenges Solo Sikoa to face him one-on-one on the last episode of, of WWE Smackdown. So, and then we also saw Bayley and Michin take on Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. And then we saw a promo with Andrade comparing Carmelo Hayes to Bronny James, which was hilarious as hell. Michin, from the moment the match started, was attacked from behind, didn't really recuperate till like 10 minutes in. So it was essentially like a handicap match. It was essentially a handicap match. She returned. She kicked ass for a little bit, but, the Money in the Bank briefcase that Bayley, tore up for Tiffany Stratton came into use. She took out Bayley, then the Annihilator, bam, Nia Jax, and Tiffany Stratton become the victors. And lastly, WWE Smackdown ended off with Solo Sikoa addressing the WWE Universe, not just the WWE Universe, but Roman Reigns particularly. He said, and I quote, "The Tongans will bring back the titles." He said he will be one-on-one he will face Cody one-on-one at SmackDown next week. And he said Roman Reigns will acknowledge Solo Sikoa. So a lot of crazy stuff, definitely 1,010%. SmackDown getting big ratings, getting amazing ratings, one of the more popular shows. But now we're going to talk about the other show. We have Monday Night Raw. We have a Monday Night Raw preview. We're going to talk about what's going to happen tonight. Anticipated, not debuts, anticipating recoveries. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. Comebacks? No. Returns. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Can't believe I couldn't think of the word return. Anyways, guys, we're going to dig on into that subject matter when we return. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right. And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here to talk about all things professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, injuries, rumors, also projected storylines. Did I say injuries already? I think I did. But anyways, so just kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. We had our WWE Smackdown review. Now we're going to get into our Monday Night Raw preview. But before we do any of that, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Shoot me your comments, questions, and concerns. I don't know why this is not working. Bam. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Give me your projected storylines. Give me your projected rumors. Just tell me anything. Tell me how what happened over the weekend. Let me know, if the show sucks. I'm just kidding. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Let me know if, ultimately, tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like about the podcast. Love criticism 1,010% of the way. So I feel like it can only make you better. So, make sure you hit up that tips and donations link. Of course, anything is absolutely appreciated. Love you guys. I know how crazy this world is in terms of economics and stuff like that. And I don't want to get too much into that. This is a professional wrestling podcast. If you guys don't like, if you guys don't want to talk about professional wrestling, you guys can go talk about watch some Fox or some MSNBC or some CNN. I'm just kidding. No, I don't know why I switched to a Southern accent. I'm sorry for those in the South that are listening. Hopefully you don't hate me. I'm just kidding. Talk about all things wrestling. Hit up the GSMCpodcast.net. Hit up the tips and donations link, and it'll be greatly appreciated. All right, guys. Now we're going to talk about some Monday Night Rollins. Yes, it is Monday Night Rollins tonight. It's been reported that the show is going to kick off with Seth Rollins coming to deliver the instructions to CM Punk. Also, Drew McIntyre. What kind of surprises does the Visionary hold for the Irish Psychopath, for CM Punk? CM Punk's first match since his injury. His first match back, I believe, was Royal Rumble. I think it was Royal Rumble. Then he got injured, and then he's coming. I think this is going to be his first actual match and since his WWE return, obviously leaving AEW due to a little bit of disputes backstage with the Young Bucks and Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega and also Jack Perry. So. Should be interesting. I think 1,010% this match heading towards SummerSlam. This is huge for CM Punk. This is huge for CM Punk. I know that CM Punk comes off like this guy who's like, I don't let anybody get in my head. Everybody who hates me, I can tone out those noise. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. But in reality, I think it bothers him. I think it does bother him a little bit. He's definitely a superstar that really has not shied away from controversy, so to speak. So, you can bet him coming back at SummerSlam, he wants this to be probably the best match in his professional wrestling career because essentially he's coming back from injury. Ow. As you get older, you're more prone to injury. Ow. And thirdly, it's because you're back in the WWE. You're not with AEW anymore. This is to a point where you gotta not like a put up or shut up because I feel like WWE would never ever release CM Punk again. But this is kind of like all right, this is my homecoming to this new world that I have within WWE. You had the apology already for the pipe bomb. You apologized to the superstars who did not want to accept that you were back, like Triple H, Seth Rollins, a couple other names backstage, but this is big for CM Punk. This SummerSlam match is going to be extremely huge, which makes me think that Drew McIntyre doesn't have a title on him. Drew McIntyre he was in my top 10 of guys who have lost the most in their careers up to July 2024. So it's not really any surprise that I feel like CM Punk will get the victory at SummerSlam, especially him trying to avenge, getting his bracelet back with the initials of AJ and his dog Larry or some shit like that. Sorry, with some stuff like that. But no, it's just kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. So we're going to find out what the Visionary has in store. Hopefully, I'm an attitude era guy through and through. I love match stipulations. I know a lot of people are like, oh, some match stipulations could be pretty stupid. And I'm not like talking about like a pajama prison match or a tuxedo match or a lights out match or one of those matches where you had to wear the bag over your head and like people were fighting like I'm not talking like those matches. And it'd be cool to kind of see something like like a steel cage. These guys have been constantly messing with each other and then just absolutely leaving. Confine them to a structure to the point where they are forced to have to take each other out. I would love this to be like a steel cage, maybe like a Hell in a Cell, not being too greedy, but I feel like that'd be pretty badass. Like if this, if this segment goes, Seth Rollins, he gives his instructions. CM Punk grabs the mic. He's like, you know what? I don't want any interferences. I want this match to end clean. I want this match to end to the point where Drew McIntyre feels like he cannot recuperate. I want him to feel this match for his whole entire career. I want to take everything from him like he took away from me. I want this match to be a Hell in a Cell match. That would be pretty badass. To be honest, that's what I would do. But of course, if I was the writer for WWE, I feel like people would be injured like probably every other week or so. I'm just kidding. No, be like, we need to bring back First Blood matches. Let's bring back the Inferno matches, Buried Alive casket matches. Let's go. No, I'm just kidding. That'd be bad. That would be bad. Anyways, so then moving on, now we have Lyra Valkyria teaming up with Katana Chance and Kaden Carter taking on Sonya's new crew, the crew of her, Zoe Stark, and Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark are looking for tag team gold. Deville is looking to build up more momentum after her victory against Lyra Valkyria last week. Next, we have the Creed brothers. The Creed brothers taking on Alpha Academy. Will we see the Wyatt Six? I feel like we will. And, will there potentially be a match at SummerSlam? Because it's, you've teased it to the point, you've had so many VHS tapes, you had so many invasions at the Pat McAfee show that something's got to give. And I don't know if I'm more willing to be a little impatient in terms of professional wrestling because I feel like I was, the age demographic that wrestling promotions like AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan Professional Wrestling, and WWE are trying to target that age 18 to 42. And I feel like I'm kind of that bridge. I'm that bridge podcast, you know what I mean? Like where I dabble on new things a little bit, love my old school stuff, trying to meet in the middle. It's, it could be a little troublesome, to be honest. It could be because sometimes I find myself thinking more like an Attitude Era fan. Sometimes I feel myself thinking about the New Era kind of fan, maybe the PG-13 kind of fan, maybe the Ruthless, the Attitude, or like, you know what I mean? Like it all mixes up and it's crazy, but it's to the point where I feel like something has to happen. I want to see a match. I want to see a 3-on-3 match. The Creed brothers taking on the Wyatt Six. Obviously, Bo Dallas leading, or maybe he's in the back, like, controlling his troops and stuff like that. But something has to happen. I'm sorry. I'm done with these videotapes. I'm done with, Nikki Cross coming up to the announce table giving VHS tapes. Which, her under the witch, Gabby, Abby, not Gabby. Under the witch, Abby, she still looks kind of hot. I got to be honest. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not kidding. But kind of a funny little joke there. So next we have Xavier Woods taking on Karrion Kross. I love Xavier Woods, part of the New Day. I really, at the junction in in all three of these guys, Kofi, Big E, and Xavier, I don't see why they would do anything to kind of split them apart. And Karrion Kross with the Authors of Pain, like, when is this going to end? When is this feud going to end? I really don't like it. You have the Final Testament. Then you also have the Wyatt Six that's still dark, ominous kind of tone where these guys are going to go out and do whatever freak they want. And it's to the point where, I want to see something better for Xavier Woods. I think Xavier Woods, he could possibly be a challenger for the Intercontinental Championship. Once when Braun Breaker beats Sami Zayn or vice versa at WWE SummerSlam, there should be probably like a gauntlet match, maybe like an over-the-top rope battle royal, or maybe like a tournament. And I want to see Xavier Woods fight. He's a great competitor. Obviously, he's the only one who has not won a singles championship. Yeah, ouch, that hurts. But where he's at and the way they are with the New Day, I just feel like, and especially with Monday Night Raw heading to Netflix, you're going to have to need that kind of star power. You're going to need that goofiness. You're going to need that just elusive, kind of commentary media and stuff like that. So breaking up the New Day, I kind of felt like that was going to happen. I thought it was going to happen. And, I feel like something's got to give. I feel like Kofi coming back, helping out Xavier Woods, defeat Karrion Kross tonight would be pretty badass. But once again, I do not, have not really heard anything in terms of like his injury status and stuff like that. Rapidly wrapping this up, we have Gunther taking on Finn Balor. Can the Judgment Day soften Gunther for Damian Priest? Liv and Rhea, their last stop is tonight before SummerSlam. So can we hint at maybe a Dominic Mysterio potential turn on Rhea Ripley? Maybe. We have Sheamus taking on Bronson Reed and returning tonight. He's been seen backstage in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Cruz Del Toro of the LWO. A lot of exciting stuff, a lot of crazy things happening in the Put Up or Shut Up episode of Monday Night Raw. All right, so now we're going to move on into our third segment. We're going to talk about the legacy of Triple H. We had a birthday boy on Saturday. So we're going to talk a little bit about the cerebral assassin, the game, Triple H, when we come back.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right, all right, all right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Pacific Time. I'm here to talk about all things professional wrestling, all the action, all the news, all the professional wrestling news. Obviously, if you guys have some takes on professional wrestling news, let me know in the chat. You guys can teach me, like I teach you guys. The teacher has become the student, kind of thing. Actually, that was a pretty good accent right there. I'm actually kind of proud of myself. But not hanging up on the past. We're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about the legacy of the game. It's all about the game and how you play it. Dude, I love Motorhead. Kind of crazy how Triple H's favorite band was Motorhead. They had the King of Kings theme song. They also had. I personally was a huge fan of Triple H's. Not his Attitude Era theme. His Attitude Era-esque theme song. The one self song. I thought that was pretty badass. I love that theme song. Love the D-Generation X. Are you ready? And then also, of course, you can't beat Motorhead. Motorhead's kind of been the determining factor in terms of his professional wrestling theme songs that reign supreme. So you gotta love that. But before we move on any further, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Shoot me your comments, questions, concerns. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Hit up the tips and donations link. Obviously, anything is greatly appreciated. If you can't, it's all good. Just hit up the chat. Tell me what you feel. Tell me what you like. Tell me how was your weekend. Tell me what you think is going to happen at SummerSlam. What you hope is going to happen on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. Or if you're a Ring of Honor fan who stumbled upon this podcast by chance. We talk about Ring of Honor as well. Also TNA, also some MLW and NWA occasionally. Anything about in terms of professional wrestling, let's do it. I'm down, 1,010%. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next segment. We're going to talk about the game, the cerebral assassin, the king of kings, Triple. Ooh, that was the perfect entrance right there. That's a badass picture of Triple H right there. I love Triple H, obviously, one of the four, along with Shawn Michaels, on my wrestling Mount Rushmore. Of course, John Cena's on one. Although I did hate John Cena the majority of my life, but I feel like John Cena being up there, and I'm in debate about Roman Reigns and also The Undertaker. Of course, there's no really any right or wrong answers in terms of determining your Mount Rushmore professional wrestling. Obviously, you're gonna choose whoever you kind of grew up and you're like, dude, what are you talking about? Because for a little bit there, I was like, Bret Hart definitely should be on the, Ric Flair as well, Hulk Hogan, but times they are changing. Like I like to reiterate, like I love to talk about, you can't really compare who was the GOAT between LeBron James and Michael Jordan. It was a way different NBA back then, to the point where you can beat the crap out of somebody on the court and not be called for any fouls whatsoever. I remember, you had to be strong, like with the Hakeem Olajuwon, Gary Payton. Everybody was just beating each other out. Vlade Divac and Chris Webber on the Sacramento Kings. And then, Shaquille O'Neal. It's so great. Larry Johnson with Charlotte Hornets when he was there with, no, not the Charlotte. No, I think he was on the Charlotte Hornets as well, but I think he was also on that team with the Orlando Magic who drafted Shaquille O'Neal. Don't quote me on that. Reggie Miller. I love that old school stuff. You know what I mean? Karl Malone. So, kind of like one of those things where you can't really, but enough talk about the Mount Rushmore. Let's talk about Triple H. So Paul Michael Triple H Levesque was born in New Hampshire, July 27th, 1969. He was a professional wrestler, of course, an actor on, he's had appearances on film and also television and stuff like that. He's a business executive, something that I absolutely loved about Triple H, and I'll keep this brief. I remember watching an episode of I think it was Lip Sync or something like that, where he did the Moana How Far I'll Go, and I was like, oh, it was badass. I love it. You gotta love it when a girl. I think he is a girl dad. I don't think he has any sons. I could be wrong. I gotta fact check that. But it just shows like how sensitive and how strong and just how cool like your dad can go out there and just be like, you know what? I have no filter. I don't give a F, bro. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna sing some songs from Disney. And I can kind of relate to that a little bit. Like it's hard not to watch Disney and get the Frozen songs stuck in your head, or hear some of them. Even old school, like when you hear about songs like from Sleeping Beauty, or just basically anything in terms of Disney, Aladdin, whatever. You get these songs that are just stuck in your head, but when you sing them, you can't help but to put a smile on your face. I feel like that's the reason why Disney is so prominent, so successful, 1,010%. They poke on all of our strings of rhetoric, the ethos, pathos, logos, kind of thing. So maybe that's the reason why it's so successful. That'd be pretty, damn. So now he's the CEO of WWE. He had a career. He started off in a career in 1992 to 1993, a career in International Wrestling Federation under the name Terra Rising. Made it to WCW in 1994 to 1995. In 1995, he moved on to WWF, where he was a French-Canadian aristocrat, Jean-Paul Levesque. Then he became Hunter Hearst Helmsley, obviously Triple H. He was part of the clique. Obviously, kind of had, a lot of people scrutinized DX because they claimed that they stole it from the NWO. But in reality, the NWO didn't really surface. You had Scott Hall, you had Kevin Nash, moved to WCW. Then you had Hulk Hogan, join the fray, Hollywood Hulk Hogan. But where do you think they got that? The shenanigans and the turmoil and just the poking at management. It was from the clique. It was from Shawn and Triple H, Paul Levesque. It was it kind of became full circle because then after that, then you had D-Generation X happen, and then Triple H moved on to Evolution with Randy Orton, Ric Flair, and Batista, and then you had that resurgence of DX from the years of 2006 to 2009, which was absolutely awesome. He won a total of 24 WWE titles, 14 world titles, WWE champion 9 times, world heavyweight champion 5 times, a 1997 King of the Ring winner, a 2002 and a 2016 Royal Rumble winner, and he was the second winner of the Grand Slam champion under his best friend, his confidant, NXT CEO Shawn Michaels. So I think that's kind of cool how they're kind of hitting that 1-2 there. Obviously, something that you have to think about in terms of Triple H was the way he met Stephanie McMahon. There was a interview with The Undertaker. I think that was revealed online that The Undertaker was one of the, closest fellow coworkers, much like you do whenever you work at any place, like fast food, school administration, basically absolutely anything. You talk to like a couple of coworkers that you trust. And you're like, you know what? I'm getting these feelings, like that. At the time he was with China. And, obviously after the split, China kind of took it a little harder, but she did kind of move on to X-Pac a little bit there. So, and then you saw Triple H, he talked to The Undertaker, and The Undertaker kind of said like, hey, like if you have feelings for it, don't care about the enemies that you make along the way, just follow your heart, man. And that's what Triple H did. Eventually, the storyline that started off with Stephanie McMahon hating being married to Triple H ended up with the McMahon Helmsley era, ended up with them actually getting married and stuff like that. So I think a lot of people do think about and kind of tend to move toward like the negative aspect of what happened with China and Triple H and stuff like that. A breakup, a divorce, whatever. It's never easy. It's never easy, especially when it's one-sided. And then when you see somebody move on to like the boss's daughter and stuff like that, it could create a little turmoil, could possibly create a little bit of questions and stuff like that. But it was love. You gotta be a fan of love. But it was tough. Obviously, China took it really, really tough, had a substance abuse. She ended up, an accidental overdose and stuff like that, So it was, it's unfortunate. And China, one of the most respected women in terms of professional wrestling, obviously, 2-time Intercontinental Champion, the ninth wonder of the world. It's one of those things where, like, some things could wind up looking kind of ugly, But in reality, it's the choices that people make. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people, especially in terms of professional wrestling, like on Twitter and stuff like that. I read it. I was I think I was looking at a post saying that like it was like an Eddie Guerrero, China, Dominic Mysterio, and Rhea Ripley kind of post, and then I saw somebody actually reply saying that China was really heartbroken. In reality, she was extremely heartbroken. She was forced to kind of do a storyline with the, she respected Eddie Guerrero, but at the same time, she obviously was in love with the man that she kind of came into professional wrestling with. Like she was like, they were like their rock, back and forth. You know what I mean? But the ride or die. But, of course, obviously something about time, something that a lot of people hate about time. And believe me, I'm part of that boat sometimes. That, some change is inevitable. Change is inevitable. It's crazy how things kind of unfold. Life is a mystery. Tomorrow, no, what is it? Yesterday's history. Tomorrow's a mystery, but today's a present. But today's a gift. That's what we call it, a present or some stuff like that. I think I read that on the back of a bumper sticker, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's crazy!" But no, like I don't know, that whole thing was kind of crazy. But moving on, so we had Triple H from about 2000, from about the year of 2000 to the end of his career. Is probably one of the biggest names. Probably the one of he was always in the main event. The main title kind of picture in terms of the world's heavyweights and also the WWE to the very, very end. And if he wasn't wrestling, then you could bet Triple H was like, okay, now you're going to be an executive and kind of, be the unfair kind of boss here, kind of have like everything kind of play to your angle because you're the boss. You're going to play into the fact that you are married to the boss's daughter and that you are next in line, where he was like, conservative Triple H, where he would go up. But then sometimes he would rebel against Vince McMahon and he'd be like, I don't agree. Like, Triple H was definitely putting a lot of, guaranteed kind of opportunities and stuff like that. Obviously, not a lot of people do get that, but this guy, he doesn't drink. He trains in the off season like crazy. He takes care of his body. He goes out there and he gives everybody 110%. So if he honestly had to have like a suitor, if the suitor in terms of any businesses, usually businesses love to leave their businesses to sons, daughters, or whatever. You kind of promote within. Triple H was a superstar. He started as low as the IWF, then he went to WCW, then paid his dues before dating Stephanie McMahon. Stated Stephanie McMahon, Vince McMahon opened up his eyes to his potential, and favorite the nepotism. I don't know, maybe. But it's kind of hard, especially with the career Triple H did have. Even before then, if he was on any main roster and if he wasn't married to the boss's daughter, he's a talent that you can't really, take your eyes off of. I think everything that he got, it was very much, much deserved. But yeah, uh, kind of the perfect era for WWE. He recently, WrestleMania 40, he ushered in like a new era of professional wrestling. He brought in the passing of the torch moment between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. You also had both nights of WrestleMania were so natural, so fresh. Wrestlers backstage, they seem happier. The lead up to the WrestleMania main event was like nothing any wrestling fan has never really seen before. And he blurred the lines between fiction and reality, which is something that not a lot of people have success doing. Actually, quite frankly, some people get called out for that and they're like, you know what? Like now it just seems too choreographed. But Triple H did it well enough to the point where, he's respected for it. Lastly, happy birthday, Triple H. Celebrating your legacy, my man. Hope that you keep kicking ass in terms of the, WWE executive and boardrooms and all that stuff. Hope you pedigree all those jerks. I'm just kidding. Moving on. So we have Bianca Belair's most embarrassing moment. We're going to move on to our fourth segment. Do not go anywhere. We're going to dive on into the subject matter. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite drink, and join me, Eric Rodriguez, your favorite wrestling fan, in about like 15 seconds.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right. And we're back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast. Brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time on the GSMC Sports Network, here to talk about all things professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, superstar news, injuries, rumors, updates, contract talks we talk about here on the show. Obviously, love that you guys, could definitely make you guys more part of the show. Don't forget to hit up the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net so you guys could, state your opinions, comments, questions, give me a shout out of where you're listening from. 1,010% is going to be dope. It's going to be great. It's going to be a show, not just for me, created for you, but us created for each other. Hell yeah. All right, so now we're going to talk about Bianca Belair's most embarrassing moment in her career. Recently, you've seen Bianca Belair teaming up with The Storm. The Storm, Jade Cargill from AEW. I like the tag team, but something that I kind of thought about along the way, something that I've always kind of rubbed me the wrong way, was the fact that both of these two women superstars should definitely be in the main event title picture. That's what makes me think of maybe perhaps, there could be a mid-card title belt heading for WWE, and it is in the works. We have a WWE Women's United States and also a WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship title being in the works, which is something that I feel like the promotion should have had for about a decade now, to be honest. I kind of did a segment on this a couple of episodes ago where I was talking about some potential superstars that moved on from WWE that could have ultimately benefited from this, like Toni Storm, like Mercedes Moné, like Ash by Elegance. Obviously, the list goes on and on, but something that should probably happen sooner or later. So Bianca Belair has had a lot of standout moments in terms of her professional wrestling career. She is the EST of WWE, the strongest, the fastest, the greatest, the most charismatic. Oh, I guess that didn't end in EST. My bad. So she's also a Royal Rumble winner. She's one of the women that participated in the main event of WrestleMania what we're going to talk about right now at SummerSlam of 2021, you had Bianca Belair, saw her first title run come to a devastating end. It was pretty bad, I got to be honest. I saw her come out. I saw them the moment Becky Lynch entered SummerSlam, I kind of thought it was going to be more of a one-on-one, more of a chance for her to kind of show the skills in terms of professional wrestling fans and stuff like that. But you ultimately kind of saw her lose. She returned the returning Becky Lynch defeated Bianca Belair in just 26 seconds. That, slap to the face, definitely. Of course, obviously not under the Paul Levesque era right now. Just a slap to the face to Bianca Belair. I feel like she definitely deserved more than that. She speak with Alistar McGeorge of the Metro. She said, to say the least, she said it was like one of the worst nights of her life. There was friends and family inside the crowd, and she felt super, super bad. And she had this to say, and I quote, she said, 26 seconds at SummerSlam. That's the most embarrassed I've ever been. My parents were in the audience. They didn't know what was going on. They had no idea what was happening, she recalled. I felt really, really bad for them. And absolutely, 1,010%. That's, once when you become someone in terms of like a sports entertainer, you go out there, especially, obviously it's scripted, obviously it is choreographed. So you're like, you know what? I want my friends to come out there, I kind of want to, flex a little bit, see how badass I, really am and stuff like that. But she felt bad for him. And honestly, I feel bad for them kind of too. Like, you know what I mean? Like watching your daughter, watching someone who's worked so hard to be such a prominent aspect in terms of professional wrestling, ended up losing a match in 26 seconds to a returning superstar. Like, obviously, like I'm not a huge hated, guy. Like fans, they directed their hatred toward the WWE creative team as opposed to the performers, which is 1,010% the right play because it had nothing to do with Becky, had nothing to do with Bianca Belair. Obviously, you go out there you get an assignment. Every single time you show up to the venue, every single time you show up to the event, they give you an assignment. They're like, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that. I'm sorry, that's just how it goes. That's just WWE. So, not a lot of people hated on Becky Lynch, which was kind of cool. But Becky Lynch said in her autobiography that she was determined to make Bianca's Belair's career look like a star-studded career because she believed that Bianca Belair had a ton of potential. Obviously, kind of passing the baton a little bit, and she kind of wanted to show how strong Bianca Belair actually was. Bianca Belair actually did avenge her loss at WrestleMania 38, where she took down the man Becky Lynch. So, definitely, poetic justice in terms of Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair, especially new modern day WWE, she's so loved by the fans. She's so loved by the fans. A lot of people, I've checked on Reddit, social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever. A lot of people are a little upset at Bianca Belair's character kind of right now. Right there, you see her being cashed in by Io Sky. That's how Io Sky became the WWE Women's Champion. But I agree. I agree 1,010%. I liked Bianca Belair. I believed her act was a little stale. Then they decided to team her up with Jade Cargill. And at first I did hate it, but then I liked it. Then I hated it, kind of going back and forth and stuff like that. Because I feel like if WWE also had a mid-card title like the Intercontinental or also the United States in terms of the women's division, it'd be a lot different. And I think, Bianca Belair could, definitely be, no, you know what? I believe she's 1,010% a heavyweight. Hell yeah. She, in terms of main card and stuff like that, she could definitely headline WrestleMania. She could definitely, Survivor Series, No Mercy. She could, Royal Rumble. She's also, always a potential winner to win the Royal Rumble. So, obviously, throwing flowers to Bianca Belair, the EST of WWE. Her character is kind of perhaps heading toward, it kind of varies. It kind of varies right now. A lot of people think, and to me as well, ultimately, you have to break up this tag team. Jade Cargill is an absolute beast, an absolute, physical specimen. She's not the girl you want to run into in a dark alley, I tell you that. And then you also have Bianca Belair, who could, totally, she kicks total ass as well. She's great with the fans, a lot of charisma, a lot of enthusiasm, and she's just always a threat. She's always a threat, 1,010%. I don't know which one they will decide to go heel if they ever decide to break up that tag team. But I think you see more or less Jade into the tag team title picture as opposed to Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair is a winner. And I'm not saying Jade is not, but I think Bianca Belair is more of a winner. And she wants to prove more of like a single star kind of status within the WWE. Obviously, let me know. Go ahead and sound off in the comments how you guys feel about, about this segment and stuff like that. And we can talk further more about it if you want. All right, moving on to our fifth and final segment, we're going to talk about Long Live the Queen. We're going to talk about Charlotte Flair's potential return to the WWE. So, hey, do not go anywhere. All right, all right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here to take you guys inside the ropes of the professional wrestling, the squared circle. Some of the biggest sports phenomenons and sports spectacle that has happened has been within the professional wrestling industry. So I'm here to kind of help you guys, go through that. Obviously, hit up the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. If, obviously anything's greatly appreciated, but more or less, I just love a lot of engagement inside this podcast. It's not my podcast, it's our podcast. So just kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We talked about our WWE SummerSlam, our WWE Smackdown review, our WWE Monday Night Raw preview. We talked about Triple H's birthday and the legacy that he left for WWE fans, especially becoming CEO of WWE when Vince McMahon had to step down thanks to the Janelle Grant sexual assault allegations and stuff like that. He's done nothing but great things. And then we talked about Bianca Belair's most embarrassing moment in her career was at SummerSlam 2021, where she lost to Becky Lynch in 26 seconds. So let's go ahead and move on. We're going to talk about Long Live the King, Long Live the Queen, excuse me. And I know we rapidly running out of time. I got my boy Emran, his GSMC soccer podcast started at 9:30, so I will be brief. So let's go ahead and dig on into the subject matter. So we're going to talk about some Charlotte Flair. So Charlotte Flair, the star, has been off WWE for a pretty good minute, to be honest. I don't remember the last time of course I remember the last time I seen her, but, not one of those superstars that, she comes off so hot. She has all the accomplishments and accolades. And when she walks into an arena, it's like, damn, like, that she's going to cause some damage and stuff like that. And automatically, main event Carter right there. So, haven't seen Charlotte Flair on the scene for a little while. She returned to the squared circle amid her absence from TV due to an injury. The Queen shared a video on social media from the Performance Center, her training, taking bumps in the ring, doing top rope moves and stuff like that. Possibly, could this be a potential tease for a return at WWE SummerSlam coming up on Saturday? 1,010% could be. It's it's a little amiss, and I'm not too sure if it's, obviously there's still a lot of speculations in terms of returning injuries. Like we're waiting for Asuka to come back. We're waiting for Cruz del Toro to come back. He should be coming back tonight on Monday Night Raw. Also, when CM Punk and Drew McIntyre got medically cleared, I feel like it kind of took CM Punk a little while to get cleared there. I don't know why. Obviously, I guess I do. He's getting a little older, but I don't like to use that phrase because there's still people like Dustin Rhodes, people like John Cena, Kurt Angle, who, come out. Ric Flair wrestled until he was 75 years old, I believe. Her father. So, it's kind of crazy to kind of put a time limit in terms of professional wrestling. So, Charlotte Flair, she sustained multiple injuries due to her match with Asuka in December of last year. The 38-year-old tore her ACL. She tore her MCL and also her meniscus. She's a former champion. She underwent surgery in January. Her father, Ric Flair, obviously, like a father does, has nothing but high praises for his amazing, successful daughter. On an appearance with the Casual Conversations podcast, he referred to her as the best worker inside professional wrestling. So, kind of crazy, but, obviously when I would be the same way if my daughter was wrestling. Hell yeah, I'd be like, all you guys suck. She's the best. No, I'm just kidding. No, gotta respect the wrestlers and stuff like that. He also said that she was, she was going to become as famous as Serena Williams one day in the sports world. And, I kind of buy it, but on SportsCenter, you don't really see WWE women's champions. But, still, to the prestige, hell yeah, she deserves that kind of attention. He said, and I quote, her returning to, would be the best possible storyline in terms of professional wrestling. Ric Flair, he obviously has a huge desire for his daughter to go out there and do bigger and better things, but nothing's bigger than the WWE. Ric Flair has recently been rumored with the contract with All Elite Wrestling, but, it's the professional wrestling industry right now is something that I have never seen before. And I've been a professional wrestling fan my whole entire life. Obviously started with WWF, watching it on UPN on SmackDown because I couldn't afford cable and watch all the highlights of Monday Night Raw on the USA Network. And I started watching WCW when I actually did get cable. But then, and then I kind of fell out of love with wrestling for a little bit. I was like, you know what? I'm good. Didn't really take until I met my wife right now till like she kind of reintroduced me to wrestling. That's why that 2016, 2017 of wrestling with the broken up shield of Roman Reigns and also Dean Ambrose. You also have Seth Rollins, and then you have Brock Lesnar, and it's just that kind of wrestling just made me fall in love with it once again. So this now we're into another era. We're into another era of the Paul Levesque era. Obviously, Triple H taking over the Vince McMahon after the Janelle Grant sexual trafficking allegations and stuff like that. So I think under the Paul Levesque era, the sky's the limit. Sky's the limit for Charlotte Flair, 1,010%. But she definitely has, and it's been reported that she has a desire to reclaim her throne. So obviously, once again, you have Raw moving to Netflix in January. WWE once again is moving from PG-13 to about PG. So I don't think they're going to get too crazy. They're not going to make it like, rated R or anything like that. But 1,010%, you're going to see WWE Raw. Netflix also, made it pretty clear in the contract that, for us to accept the Monday Night Raw to move to Netflix, something that has been prominent in terms of international movies, Netflix was like the jumping off point in terms of streaming services. Like there was Netflix, and then there was Hulu, then of course there's HBO Max. I feel like Netflix kind of started it all. Like I could be wrong, but Netflix has definitely been a staple in terms of streaming services. So when they accumulate professional wrestling industry, and I know right now Roku TV, they're looking for a potential like a wrestling outlet as well. I know HBO Max has All Elite Wrestling, also Ring of Honor, New Japan Professional Wrestling, and the CMLL as well. So there could be a lot of things, especially heading toward Netflix. But Netflix wants a big star. They want the biggest star. Imagine Charlotte Flair in the women's division on Monday Night Raw, and imagine someone like Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns starting absolutely fresh in terms of Monday Night Raw. I think it would get great ratings. So, stars that shine bright, obviously, under Flair's absence. And it just makes me think, just, once again, we're going to kind of reiterate on the WWE Women's United States Championship, also Intercontinental Championship, because all these women that shined when Charlotte Flair was kind of missed. Also, you had Bianca Belair in the women's tag team division. So it could be pretty funny. WWE at the same time, they have to be super careful not to break down any momentum that a WWE Women's Division superstar should have. That's why a good mid-card belt would be honestly, that's what you have to do sooner rather than later. So honestly, yeah. Well, guys, that was my show. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show, and remember to follow us on Twitter/X, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook for more content and updates. Like I always say, if I made you a wrestling fan by now, just wanted to alert you guys that we do have college football right around the corner with my boy Tommy, the GSMC College Football Podcast. We also have the NFL right around the corner, the Chip Shot Football Podcast with my boy Manny, the GSMC Football Podcast with Kenneth. Find out all your things in terms of football. So when football comes back around, the college football, the NFL, you're going to want to look up some fantasy sports. I have my boy, Chris Shepard, on the GSMC Fantasy Sports, talking all your sit-ems, all your startums, all your draftums, all your, let's avoid these guys because, they're kind of aging and we don't want to sign them. I actually drafted Aaron Jones from the Green Bay Packers last year, and he started off really well, but thanks to his age, got injured and absolutely effed up my roster. It was terrible. I gotta be honest. And luckily I picked up like somebody like, no, I didn't know. It wasn't, it was another Raiders running back that I can't really name right now. And it's not my fault because the Raiders aren't really prominent in terms of the NFL. I'm just kidding. No, we also have the Andrew Tate podcast. We also have TJ and Jeremy talking about all things professional sports on the GSMC Sports Podcast and Sports by GSMC. Like I said, I got my boy Emran with the soccer podcast right. And that one in about 17 minutes. So it's still tick-tock. We got my boy Sam with baseball and my boy Nelson on basketball. All right. So once again, thank you guys so much. Definitely love seeing you guys. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend. It's Monday, so let's endure this Monday through Friday, this grueling week of work together. Watch the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time on the GSMC Sports Network. So, hey, until then, good night. Good luck, and hey, stay beautiful.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow.